Just getting the live stream sorted out, won't be long. Okay, let's go and check the volumes as well. I think they're looking okay. I'm going to turn it down a little bit because I know this aeroplane is quite noisy once it gets up and running. So we are in the Piper Warrior from JustFlight, and we are at Bodmin in Cornwall. Let's go and fix this being. It always goes to a slightly fisheye lens. So we're at Bodmin in Cornwall. I don't think they would have private jets landed here somehow, but there you go. That's the randomness of Flight Simulator sometimes. So this is the version of Bodmin you can download from Orbex. So I have no idea how accurate it is. Someone will probably say, oh, it's the wrong model of printer or something like that one. It's really nicely done though, isn't it? And there's a little cafe here by the look of it. I'm sure somebody I know very well will be able to tell me if they do get bacon butties at the Bodmin cafe. We can have a look around. Welcome to the Cornwall Flying Club. Very good. So quite how you get an aeroplane out of this end and up onto the field, where you don't, do you? You have to go all the way around. It's quite steep as well. Okay, so our little aeroplane is over here. I found a bug in 2024 actually. When it was in walk-around mode, the parking brake wasn't applied. And I stood here in walk-around mode and watched. You can see the ruts there in the grass. I watched as my plane gently rolled off into the control tower and smashed into it. So yeah, there's a warning to everybody. So let's go and have a look at the map before we get started. And we're at Bodmin, obviously. We're going to go over towards the town of Bodmin immediately after takeoff, or we'll circle the airfield a bit first. Then we're going to go over Lostwithiel, down towards Foy. And I'm just wondering if we go back up the coast to Loo before we go. We could, I guess, couldn't we? If we add this in. So after we leave Bodmin, we'll go to Lanhydrock. We could go over the Baconic Estate. Yeah, let's go back to Liskeard first. Then down to Loo. So you will know Loo as the Beyond Paradise location from the TV show that's been on about the policeman Humphrey. If you've been watching that show, that's actually based in Loo. And then we'll carry on along the coast. We'll go past Pataland Bay along the way. And if we get our directions right, I can fly over my dad's house and point it out. Wonder if he'll hear us go past. So I'm just going to figure out where it is. Yeah, we've pretty much sorted that. So, and then there's Paul Perrot, is another town worth looking at. Add position. I'm just putting reminders in so I don't miss too much along the way. And then we've got, so then we'll still come back over Bodinic and Foy and Par. And St Austell, we'll add that to the route as well to make sure we don't miss it. There's the Eden project as well there to go have a look at. And then we'll go cross country over to Newquay, then back down. These are only a few miles apart each place. Then back down to Truro, over to Redruth, Camborne, St Ives, Penzance, and then into St Just, which is Land's End essentially. So let's go. See, it's all really crammed in, so we'll be looping back here and there because it's only a few miles between each piece of interest. Let's go and get in the airplane, shall we? If I can remember how to do that. Okay, that's the outside view. Yeah, it's working now. Good. So let's remove the chocks and the tie downs and put the tablet away. We won't be needing it any further. And let's go and select the left fuel tank. Go rich on the mixture. Crack the throttle open. And turn the battery on and the alternator on. Turn the lights on. Turn the collision light on because we don't have a beacon on this aeroplane as far as I'm aware. And we have the engine running, and we're looking for 1000 RPM just to warm it up. Put the internal lights on, even though we're not going to be using them. Put a transponder on standby. Pop the yoke off so we can get to interesting. Did I not go for the... I thought I'd chosen the Warrior. Which aeroplane have I chosen here? Doesn't actually tell you on the instruments, does it? This isn't the Warrior. I'll have to edit the titles. Well, no, it is, because it's got the right... So where's the avionics switch? Oh, there it is. Don't listen to me. I've been doing too much recently, and I'm making mistakes all over the place. Anyway, let's turn the volumes up on the radios. And turn on the... We're not going to be using the GPS, but we'll turn it on, just so you get to see it. And press enter. And nav and nav, and after a few seconds it will come up with the numbers. Fingers crossed. Cross your fingers and toes. There it goes. Okay, calibrate the altimeter. Put the yoke back on. Actually, is there anything else we need to do down here before I put the yoke out of the way? Turn on the head tracking so we can see around ourselves. And go for first stages of flap. We're going to roll up the hill if we can make it. And we're going to go down to the far end of the airstrip. Because you can look at the wind on the windsock up there, look, it's whistling down the airstrip towards us. So we're going to have a small crosswind, but nothing too bad. Getting some speed up. Rotate. There's a lot of sheep about. So let's just turn around and go back and have a look at Bodmin airfield from the air. It's quite hilly, wasn't it, on the runway? It's more of a mowed field than an airstrip, to be honest. There you go, look, you can see it now. So we took off along there. So it's on the crest of a hill, really, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look at our map. So we want to turn about really. Go the opposite direction, we'll go down to Bodmin first. So if we follow the main road, that will take us straight there, won't it? Or go 230 degrees, something like that. Although with the wind, that's probably not going to be a very accurate guide. Now I've got problems with the stick, it's jittering. Probably needs to be reseated. I'm going to leave it alone now. So do you know what? I was going to use say intentions. I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to reseat the joystick quickly. A bit better now, isn't it? It's still a little bit twitchy. So this is Bodmin, and we're going to swing round to 160 degrees-ish in a moment and fly out towards the Lanhydrock estate. There is method to the madness reading the live stream comments. I am following a kind of a route to go and visit some interesting places along the way. So JustFlight have updated this look, and I'm going to turn the yokes off, that's annoying. The animation of the yokes is twitching. It wasn't doing that a few days ago. So, Lanhydrock estate is down here. I don't know if we'll be able to see it very well from the aeroplanes. So there's the car park, and there's the old... yeah, there's the house. Oh, there's the house, sorry. Yeah, they've just got an office block for it by the look of it. Oh, that's a shame. Or is that the main house? I can't remember which house is which now around here. Lanhydrock is one of these famous places, though, where the gardens became overgrown. And it's slowly been recovered from the undergrowth over the course of sort of 20, 30 years. But most of the grounds were lost to the undergrowth. It was it's a fascinating story. Okay, let's go off towards... where are we going next? 9 miles over to Liskeard. So about 85 degrees-ish. So off we go to Liskeard. So I've got live weather on, but it's rewound, so it's as it was middle of the afternoon. So it's been a windy day across the UK. It's been threatening showers where we live. We live about 200 miles away from here. My parents lived just down by Talland, as I mentioned when we were looking at the map, so we'll overfly their house in a bit. But we're just flying across to... going to go over East Tap House towards Liskeard. There isn't much in the way of flat ground around here, is there? It's all rolling hills everywhere. Should we have a play with the weather? Make it look pretty outside. So if we go to custom, we can manipulate the time without changing the weather that's happening. If we went for earlier in the morning, the sun will be in front of us, won't it? There we go. It's affected the frame rate though, hasn't it? Drawing the sunburst and simulating the sky has affected the frame rate quite drastically. So I might go and put the sun a bit higher in the sky just to combat that. Although we could wind it backwards to see what it looks like as it gets the very sort of sunrise going on out there. That looks quite cool, doesn't it? So, how are we doing on our route? We're still on the way, we're about halfway, so Dobwalls is off to our left in a moment. When I was young, Dobwalls had a huge theme park. It shut down a few years ago. But it had train rides and things like that. It was a simpler time, let's put it that way. I don't expect there's anything left of what used to be the theme park at Dobwalls now. It was one of those places when you were about 6 or 7 years old you desperately wanted to go because they had trains and stuff. In reality it was probably a couple of small miniature railways that you could sit on the back of a train and ride around for 10 minutes. If we can see any of the remnants of it from the air, or if it has all been built over. I imagine it's long gone by now. Okay, so right turn, Liscard is down here. Quarry. So this is Liscard. And then we're going to turn and head almost directly south for Loo. So as I said earlier, if you've been watching Beyond Paradise on the TV about the adventures of a policeman who ends up working at a rural police station in Cornwall. It's actually the filming location is Looe. I think it's called Shipton Abbot in the show. We'll play with the sun in a moment. Actually, because we're going this way now, should we move the time into the evening so we always get the pretty view? It's going to be the other side of us though, isn't it? Of course it is. Yeah, maybe we will keep it the same side. Just manipulating time here, you know, like a average demigod. Okay, let's drop into the estuary then, or the river, I should say. So I'm not sure if Looe has photogrammetry. It probably doesn't. So years ago, Looe was famous for shark fishing. So about 20 miles out off the coast, I guess, there's obviously the ocean gets quite deep, and you get lots of blue sharks and makos. It's interesting to see how well modelled it is, because yeah, the roads come down here. I know this area really well because we've been down no end of times visiting my parents. There's a car park here, there's the bridge over the... This dries out here. This is mud with boats. Oh look, we've got a levitating fishing boat. It's fairly accurate though, even though it's only AI houses, it's fairly representative of it. Obviously they haven't got the beach properly, or the breakwater, but that's a bit of a shame, but not the end of the world. Okay, so after visiting Looe, we're going to double back and go around the headland to Polperro. And along the way we'll find my dad's house. Should we lift this sun up? The only problem with the low sun is it does affect the frame rate quite horrendously. Because obviously it's rendering all of the atmosphere. Okay, so Talland, if I come out from away from the headland here, it's just in here. So this is where I spent an awful lot of summers as a kid, on this beach down here. and my mum and dad ended up retiring to a house a bit further up the hill. So there should be a church here, but I think they've put a tower block in. It's an old church. I imagine that's supposed to be the Talon Bay Hotel, or one of the farms. I have run this route so many times. There's an abbey hidden in the trees here. It's called Sklerda Abbey. And if we turn, my parents' house is that one. They're all AI houses though, they bear no relation really to the real ones. So I'm not going to point to exactly which one it is. Okay, we're going to carry on along the coast then to Foy. So this is Polperro down here, by the way. There's the car park for Polperro, look. But you have to park and walk, because look how narrow the road is. And there's no parking down here. It's an old fishing village. With levitating boats, but look at it. That's quite amusing. So yeah, look at the streets. They are so narrow you can't. Well, you can fit just about one car along them if you're lucky. And there's a harbour that is obviously got a wall that protects it from the elements. I wonder if they'll fix those scenery anomalies. That seems to be a common theme, having levitating boats at the moment. So obviously something's gone wrong, isn't there? Okay, let's carry on along the coast. So we've got Land Salos on the right side. Just side slipping us to give us some visibility. So somebody asked the other day in an email what I mean when I say side slip. So side slipping, if you imagine at the moment the aeroplane is going straight and level, yeah, it's going the direction it's pointing. If we get a bit of altitude, I can make a better example of this. So say I want to descend in a hurry, but I don't want to speed up too much. So I can descend, obviously if I go the direction the plane's going, the plane will get faster. But what if I push the nose one way and bank the other way to stop the aeroplane turning? So I'm going that way, but the side of the aeroplane is hitting the airflow, so it's keeping us slow. Yeah, we're skidding sideways. If I straighten back up, then the speed builds. That's what side slipping is. Before flaps were invented on aeroplanes, side slipping was their primary means of descending. So when they were coming in for approach, they would always side slip before flaps got invented. There's a fair few boats going into the Foy estuary, look. So on this side of the estuary you've got Polruan. On the far side is the town of Foy. It's spelt Fowy, but it's pronounced Foy. If you've ever heard of the author Daphne du Maurier, she lived in Bodmin, which is just down a little way down the estuary. She bought a house on the side of the estuary called Riverside. So this side is Foy, this is Polruan, and just across the water over there is Bodmin. And there should be I wonder if the ferry will appear. If it's up, or if the ferry landing is here, because ferry side is next to the ferry landing. In English China Clay used to have great big docks down here. I don't know if they still operate. They probably do. Let's do this from outside. So there's the ferry landing, and there, yeah, they've just got an AI house there. That's ferry side. It's a really pretty old house. And that looks like one of the car ferries moored up for the evening. Okay, where are we going after Foy? So we're going to go, actually let's go, yeah, we'll go across the fields. We're going to the Eden project. But side slipping is a very valuable skill to learn in an aeroplane, because it also means in a crosswind you can defeat the crosswind and point the aeroplane down the runway. I don't think we've got much of a crosswind going on at the moment. No, it's 12 knots, so if we do get a crosswind at the airfield at the other end, I'll show you it on purpose. So we're flying in towards the Eden project. I'm not sure if it's going to be modelled. It was a quarry years ago, and they built a load of like geodesic domes. They're ginormous, and inside them they have different biomes from different parts of the world. Let's have a look. Are we going the right direction? Just about. So it should be straight in front of us, but it's in a natural hollow in the ground. I think this should be it down here, if they've modelled it. I think I might have to go and get the Orbex UK scenery to get it modelled properly. We'll see when we get closer. Is that it, or is that just a farm? Maybe I'm thinking it's further across. Oh, there it is. So yeah, the simulator hasn't quite understood it, look. It's drawn it all wrong. So those should be bubbles. They shouldn't be collapsed. and underneath them they have effectively artificial biomes of different parts of the world. Okay, so we're going to go down towards St Austell now and have a fly over the town. St Austell's quite big. So we're going to fly out from St Austell across the fields and go to Newquay, which is where all the surfers go, so about 290 degrees. I'm going to go coast to coast. It's 270, 280, 290. I guess Cornwall is similar to a lot of the coastal areas of the US in that it's very, very seasonal. So, you know, the people down here work like Trojans through the summer and then they have to try and survive the winter. But I guess with people moving down, because the internet means people can work from wherever now, it might be changing that slowly. There's a huge quarry over there. What the column is here. Is it a chimney or can you see it on the map? There's nothing obvious, is there? Must just be a chimney. Yeah, it's interesting with obviously a lot of the service work or manual or tradesman type jobs, although they struggle in the southwest of the UK, with more and more people moving down, it means more services are slowly needed. So the population is slowly going up because of people moving down, because they can work remotely. For some types of job, I should say. Okay, we're veering off course. Going off towards the airbase, so we don't want to do that. We're going towards Newquay, which, as you can see, already see it in front of us. So Newquay is kind of famous for surfing in the UK. I guess the shape of the coast favours the generation of waves, so it's become super popular with surfers. There's the Air Force Base. This is really nicely modelled, isn't it, this aeroplane? Can we play with the curtains and things like that? Oh, I didn't think so. That's a shame. So for those watching that have visited Newquay, we'll go and do a low pass along the beach, I guess. So if we go off to the east side and then fly along low along the seafront, you get to have a good look at it. Let's drop down to 1,000 feet. Yeah, so as Sci Voltage is saying about the Eden project, it is a fantastic day out. A good friend of mine worked there for a long time. I think her other half still does. So we appear to have decent scenery here. Just looking at the houses and the church. There's the main beach. Yeah, they haven't modelled it wonderfully. It's okay. Okay, on we go. So we're going to cut back away from Newquay, back towards... should we stay along the coast actually? I'm just looking at this. We could go back to Truro, I guess, yeah. So it's only 10 miles to the south. So let's turn left. So we should be able to pick up the VOR 11420 for the Land's End VOR. Click spots sometimes on the rollers are tiny. So that's the direction relative to the direction we're going to the VOR, and it is 25 miles away down to Land's End. I suspect that's Truro, nestled in the trees over there. The sky's clearing up, isn't it? On the map, trundling in slowly towards Truro. It's not the fastest airplane in the world, is it? Should we open the engine up? See how fast we can make it go. Hopefully it hasn't got engine damage, otherwise we could find ourselves in quite a bit of sticky trouble. So this is Truro over here, this whole area, built up area. So Kevin Rowe is complaining about how Newquay looks. Well, the scenery is entirely dependent upon the data they have available. And if they haven't got the data, then they can't do it. And seeing as there's an army of people now that have got tinfoil hats that they've fashioned and are trying to block anybody from having anything or letting AI do anything, that explains a lot of the reasons why some areas are good and some areas are bad. I had it happen the other day. I was talking to somebody about watching television and advised them, because their television wasn't working with the internet very well, to get a Fire Stick. And they had reservations about getting a Fire Stick because they didn't want Amazon to know what they were watching on the TV. Oh yeah. I find it difficult to reason with people that think along those lines. I mean, to each their own, it's their own decision, but But it's the same thing is happening with having access to the data to make these simulators good. Some entire countries won't allow their data to be, won't allow their landscape to be mapped, won't allow any of the particular areas to have any detail. They're scrubbed of detail. Okay, so we're going to go and level out, go over towards Redruth, and we're flying on down towards Land's End now, in a roundabout route. I think the big difference that we've seen is there was a huge leap when people saw the AI scenery that's been done with Flight Simulator, and when it has good enough resolution data to work with, it becomes just the AI on its own is very good. And the step up over what we had previously is still stunning. It's not until you go back and see Prepare 3D or X-Plane 12 out of the box, it's not until you see that you realise what we've got. But the trouble is, once you see good photogrammetry, it's another step over the top of the AI scenery. And that's the problem. That once you've seen better, it, even marginally worse looks poor. How are we doing? Going the wrong way. And that's how we're doing. So we're heading off towards Redruth and Camborne. Half the reason to go to Camborne is because Jethro mentions it in his stand-up routines, or used to. He always used to talk about visiting Camborne. So I thought we'd fly over it. If anybody has not heard of Jethro, that's maybe an international viewer of the channel, go search for Jethro on YouTube. He was a bearded Cornishman who was a very gifted stand-up comedian. He didn't tell jokes, he told stories. Yeah, just having the rolling hills and the trees and the roads. Can you imagine if you'd seen this scenery a few years ago? You would have thought this was real film. And it's only when you get really close to it that it gives itself away. So from a couple of thousand feet it looks fantastic. And it's only going to get better, that's the scary thing. Well, I started out with Flight Simulator 2 by Sublogic on the Atari ST, and you were lucky if a town was represented by just the roads as lines, and maybe a shaded area where the town was supposed to be. And cities had one or two skyscrapers. Okay, so this is Redruth on our left here, with what looks to be an enormous logistics. It's probably Amazon, isn't it? Or the supermarkets, maybe. I bet if we were to zoom in on the map, we could figure out who that logistics place is. Oh, maybe it's been rebuilt recently. Is it this one? Is this the one we saw? There's no label on it. That's a shame. Anyway. So, a little further on, is Camborne. It's just down here, underneath the diagram. So I'm just reading the comments there about there being no decent Concorde in 2020 or 2024 yet. DC Designs made one, but it isn't very good. I know there's another one in development. I can't remember who the developer is. A28 had a T6. That's interesting. I think I know somebody who worked on it. He actually works for Airfix now. As a consultant. He's a bit of a world-renowned expert on the T6 family of aircraft. Okay. So, oh sorry, we were going to look at Camborne, weren't we? So this is Camborne, just off of our left wing here. That Jethro often mentioned in his stories. It's very geometric, isn't it, when you see it from overhead? The layout of the roads. It's interesting how that sometimes happens. Okay, whoops, we've gone and somehow, oh, it's the tab key, isn't it, that does the tablet on its own. I wanted Alt tab. So I often get this question about how I switch between applications when I'm running the sim. I hold the Alt key down on the left side of the keyboard and then press the tab key while holding the Alt key down. When you do that, you can flick between what's running. And when you let go, whatever was highlighted comes to the front. And that's been in Windows since about Windows 98, I think, to be able to do that. Okay, so we're flying across to St Ives, which I believe is just across the headland here. Let's have a quick look at the map to confirm that. Yep. So it's just out on the headland. So St Ives is famous for the Tate Gallery being there, I guess, and the nursery rhyme, or the riddle, about I met a man going to St Ives. Or was it I passed a man? While I was going to St Ives, I passed a man with 7 wives. Each wife had 7 cats. Oh, it was something like that. I can't remember all of it. Each cat had 7 kits. How many were going to St Ives? 1. It's an old riddle. There's a lighthouse down there. Which lighthouse is that then? And it looks like it's modelled. The Godrevy lighthouse. So I've never seen Die Hard with a Vengeance. So does that riddle appear in the movie then? That's funny. This is where I get castigated for not having watched Die Hard. I've never seen any of the Die Hard movies. I obviously know of them, but I've never watched them. So I'm guessing Flying Irishman is saying, I flew an Archer last week that had those old style radios. I'm guessing you must mean in the real world, because I don't think any of the aeroplanes in the sim have got knobs that fall off. That would be really cool though if they could. Should we try something out in the simulator actually? So if we put the tablet back on and switch the GPS out for the GNS 530 and it's powered up, we can get rid of that again. I'm just going to pause the sim for a moment. I want to try something out. So if we go flight plan, copy it to the clipboard, and then go and open a browser. Go to flight simulator, no, planner.flightsimulator.com and close that. We don't want it to build a route, we want to go into route here and go in here and paste that one and save it. So that was our route today. And if we save that and call it Cornwall and save the new plan, and then we go back into the simulator and we open the flight planner in the tablet and we they've changed it. Load from the web. That one. Yep, it's got it. So then if we go in here, we can see our route now. But the other trick I wanted to try is if we scroll down, we can send this to the avionics. There we go, send to the ATC and avionics. Send to avionics, that's what we want to do. And we've now got the route on here as well. Very cool. So anyway, let's go and circle back round because we're in St Ives. Or we've flown completely over it without looking at it. So, just reading the comments there about how complicated Concorde would probably be. I think the major part of it is the pumping the fuel around the aeroplane. And that's why they had a dedicated engineer on board to do that. So there was 4 crew, was it, on Concorde? Co-pilot, pilot, co-pilot, navigator and engineer. And they were all busy. Okay, so we carry on. So there's a Tate Gallery in St Ives as well. I'm not sure whereabouts it is in the town. So we're going to chop back across the county 6 miles to Penzance. We're going to go 200 degrees to get there then. So we'll keep an eye. Well, actually, we can see the GPS now, can't we? We can change this to page group on this. So if we go and switch this to... Oh, is it not working? Oh, it's that one, isn't it? There's me trying to tune the ADF to change the page group on the 430. So if we change this to the first page of the page group, we get the rose mode with the magenta track. But on the 430, the first page shows you the stats. So you get the track direction, the distance, time to, estimated time en route. It's cool, isn't it? So you get lots of information at our fingertips. And a little plan of, you know, the aeroplane flying up the screen. I've written a full guide. This little 530 and 430 unit, they are incredibly powerful systems. They're just not as intuitive as the modern glass screens. But there's arguably more in this than there is in a GNS 1000. It's incredible. It's just as capable. Where the trick comes in is being able to go through the page groups. So you've got waypoint database, you've got fuel planning, trip planning, you've got airport database, well, nearest airports, nearest intersections, nearest NDBs, nearest VORs. It's mad, isn't it? In here you've got a waypoints database, you've got airports, all sorts of information on approaches and intersections, VORs. There's tons of stuff in it. And then within navigation, you've got obviously your navigation display. You've got the north-oriented navigation display. You've got TCAS. Oh no, terrain mode. Sorry. Then you've got TCAS. Then you've got obviously the satellite simulation of it picking up the GPS signal. It's very cool, isn't it? I'll have to do another video on the GNS 530 soon. I don't think many people realise just how much it's got. Okay, so there's Penzance below us. There's the car park and the port. Appears a Navy ship has crashed into the breakwater, but it's a church. Okay, we're going to jump across now to St Just, which is just across the hills over here, and that'll be the end of our route for the evening. So as I said, we'll have a look at St Just or Land's End, and we'll have a see which way the wind is. So if we go runway 25, I can demonstrate a crosswind landing, can't I, for you? We'll get to the airport first. I think it's got a tower, so if we were to go and load, say, intentions while we're en route, we might be able to talk to the tower at Land's End. Tower, there we go. How far away are we? About 5 miles out, aren't we? Land's End Tower, Piper, Golf Juliet Bravo Echo Kilo, 5 miles to your east, requesting a full stop landing.
Bravo Echo Kilo, wind 330 at 9, runway 34, cleared to land.
They obviously are going to put us into a decent runway for the wind. Into the wind, look, directly into the wind. Runway 34, clear to land, Bravo Echo Kilo. So before we do that, we'll request a touch and go. Let's ask them, requesting crosswind touch and go, runway 25. Land's End Tower, Piper Bravo Echo Kilo requesting crosswind touch and go runway 25.
Piper Bravo Echo Kilo, runway 25, cleared for touch and go, wind 340 at 12.
Okay, here we go then. So you'll see I'm having to crab to the right. So the crosswind method of dealing with this, also the crab side slip method, sorry, I can't even think straight, I'm too tired. The side slip method is to pull the aeroplane round to face the runway with the rudder. And hold right wing down to maintain the centre line. So if I go left wing down, if I level up, the plane is slowly skidding to the left. If I keep using the rudder to point the aeroplane down the runway, I can translate the aeroplane just by tipping the wings. Yeah, so the idea is you can keep the plane using the rudder pointing down the runway, even though you're being blown to one side, but by holding the wing down you can prevent that from stopping, from moving you around. You wouldn't want to get that wrong, would you? You go tobogganing down the hill and smash into the trees. So we'll circle the airfield again and then we'll call in for landing. So we're going to get a 3-4, aren't we? So if I circle and then while we're downwind 3-4, I'll call in for clearance for landing again. Actually, we could do another touch and go. Let's do it. Let's ask them. I just want to show you the crabbing technique instead. Tower, Piper Bravo Echo Kilo requesting another touch and go runway 25.
Piper Bravo Echo Kilo, runway 25, cleared for touch and go, wind 330 at 10.
Cleared for touch and go runway 25, copy weather, Bravo Echo Kilo. So this time I'm not going to side slip, I'm going to crab the aeroplane to hold the centre line. And then just as the aeroplane is about to lose lift over the runway, we will de-crab it essentially. So use the rudder to straighten the aeroplane towards the runway direction. It's incredibly difficult to do without rudder pedals. And I don't have rudder pedals, I only have a twist grip on the joystick for the rudder. So we're coming in, we're a bit high, look, so we should have one red light and one white light. So we're crabbing, we're aiming quite significantly off to this way, look, because of the wind. So we'll hold the aeroplane off the runway until it's about to lose lift. So we may get it wrong because it takes practice to do it with a particular aeroplane. More or less got it. I was nodding around a little bit. It was quite turbulent just as I got near the ground, which was quite odd. Okay, let's go and loop round now. If we go downwind immediately for runway 34. Tower, Piper, Bravo Echo Kilo requesting full stop landing runway 34.
Piper Bravo Echo Kilo, wind 310 at 11, runway 34, clear to land.
Clear to land runway 34, Piper Bravo Echo Kilo.
We'll have to go around, going too fast. Cornwall, Alpha India Romeo Juliet. On left downwind, runway 02. Cornwall, India Romeo Juliet.
So that's just a cached
Cornwall,
recording.
India Romeo Juliet, roger. Report final for runway 02.
Wilco, Cornwall, Alpha India Romeo Juliet.
Drop down onto the proper approach. There we go. I can't get used to how much this plane floats. It seems to like get us. It's because it's got a flat underneath, I think. Once it gets in that air cushion underneath it, it floats along the runway.
Piper Bravo Echo Kilo, welcome to Land's End. Taxi to general aviation parking via runway 0725. Bravo, stay with me.
Taxiing to general aviation parking, Bravo Echo Kilo. Wonder if they do bacon butties here. Oh, someone's come out with the sticks to help us in. Very cool. Thank you very much. It'd help if I could click the right things, wouldn't it? And open the door. There we go. I'll just put it on the outside view. So I hope you enjoyed that one. That was a quick fly around Cornwall for an hour or so in the Piper Warrior in 2024. It's getting better all the time now, isn't it? So this is the JustFlight version of, well, I bought it from JustFlight, I don't think they developed it, of Land's End or St Just Airport. So should we have a look around it before we sign off? What's with the stones in the field? That must be accurate, I guess. Is it a burial mound or something? So I have visited this in the past. It's really nicely done. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll see you all soon. Right, I'll go and post this out to the blog, and I'll have to try and think what I'll do next in the sim, I guess, for the next week or so. There's all sorts of things that are due to come out fairly soon, so I should be back fairly quickly, I would imagine, but I may have a day or two off. I've done quite a lot recently, and it's catching up with me. See you all again soon. Take care. Thanks for watching.